Picture this, brother. You wake up one morning and the house is quiet. Not peaceful, not calm, just empty. A silence so heavy it presses down on your chest, and at first you feel relief. You tell yourself, finally, maybe we've grown up, maybe she understands me, maybe the storm has passed. But brother, that relief is a lie, it is a trap, because silence is never neutral, silence is never innocent. Silence is the first whisper of surrender, the quiet folding of attention, care, and desire that you can no longer reach. Every woman argues when she still cares. Every woman raises her voice, tests you, challenges you, because her nervous system is still alive with engagement, because her brain chemistry still reacts to you, because conflict is connection. It is proof. It is the dopamine spike that tells her she still needs you, that she still believes the bond matters. But the moment she stops, the arguments cease, the corrections vanish, the challenges fade. That is the precise moment her emotional system detaches. That is when she is no longer fighting for you. That is when the battle is already lost long before you even notice it. And brother, most men don't see it. They misread the calm as growth, the politeness as love, the distance as harmony. And that is when they make the fatal mistake. They chase silence. They beg for attention. They over-explain. They promise. They try to recreate what is already decayed. And in doing so, they lose themselves. They destroy their frame. They sacrifice their power, because attraction never responds to panic. It responds to groundedness, to strength, to the man who can withstand pressure without collapsing. So listen to me carefully. When she stops arguing, it is not peace. It is the verdict. It is the withdrawal of value. It is the quiet closing of a door you never saw, a decision made without you, a chapter ending while you were still reading the first page. And the strongest men, the unbreakable men, the men who rise above this, they do not chase the silence. They do not plead. They do not shrink or falter. They stand firm. They protect their frame. They choose themselves first. They sharpen their mind, their discipline, their emotional control. And in that choice, they become untouchable. They become men no one can abandon, no one can diminish. Men who command respect without demanding it. Men whose presence alone holds weight. Remember this, brother. Silence is the ultimate test, the quietest war, the invisible battle. And the only way to survive it is to become the man who no one can break, who no one can take, who answers the end of silence not with fear, but with unwavering strength. You don't understand the danger of silence, because as a man, you are built to survive storms, not emptiness. You can handle raised voices, slam doors, sharp words, because conflict at least tells you that you matter, that your presence still has weight. But silence strips you of that signal. Silence doesn't attack you, it erases you. And that's why it's so lethal. Every woman argues when she is still emotionally invested, when her nervous system still reacts to you, when her brain chemistry still spikes with dopamine and cortisol, because emotional friction means connection, it means possibility, it means that somewhere inside her she still believes you can become the man she needs. Arguments are not disrespect, they are effort. They are the biological imperative of a woman trying to recalibrate a man she is bonded to. And the moment she stops arguing is not maturity, it is surrender. Not surrender to you, but surrender on you. She stops because her mind has already accepted the outcome. She has already grieved the version of you she hoped would exist. She has already detached emotionally while standing right next to you. And you mistake that calm for stability, because no one ever taught men that peace without passion is not love. It is resignation. Her silence is not empty. It is full of decisions you were not part of, full of conversations she had with herself, full of tears she cried when you weren't watching, full of emotional withdrawals she made while you were still depositing nothing. And by the time you feel the distance, it's because she has already crossed a psychological threshold that men rarely recover from. A point where her attachment system shuts down, her desire decays, and her respect stops growing. And this is where men collapse, because they react from fear instead of strength. They beg, they explain, they promise, they overperform, not realizing that attraction does not respond to panic. It responds to groundedness. It responds to a man who can remain centered under pressure. But instead of standing firm, they chase the silence. And chasing silence is the fastest way to confirm to a woman that she made the right decision, leaving emotionally. Because silence was never the problem. Silence was the symptom. The real problem was the loss of masculine frame long before the cry arrived. A strong man does not need to dominate or shout or control. He understands emotional dynamics at a level deeper than words. He knows that arguments are tests, not threats. He knows that a woman pushing against him is asking one question only: can this man hold his ground without breaking himself or trying to break me? And when he fails that test repeatedly, the arguing stops, not because she won, but because she no longer cares to test him. The war metaphor matters here because wars don't end when the fighting stops. They end when one side no longer sees value in continuing. And that is what silence is: the withdrawal of emotional resources, the quiet closing of supply lines. And when a man finally realizes this truth, it is usually too late for that relationship, but not too late for him. Because this pain, this loss, this brutal clarity is where a man is either destroyed or forged. The weak man tries to rewind time, the strong man absorbs the lesson. He doesn't curse women, he doesn't blame society endlessly. He takes responsibility for his frame, his boundaries, his emotional control. He learns that love is not maintained by comfort alone, but by polarity, presence, and self-respect. And when he understands this, he no longer fears arguments or silence. He understands both. He becomes the man who can stand calmly in conflict and walk away calmly from detachment. And that is the man who is never truly abandoned, because even when a woman leaves, he does not lose himself. And brother, that is the hardest truth and the strongest position a man can ever reach. Because the moment you choose yourself over begging for emotional engagement, you stop being the man who is left behind, and you become the man others feel afraid to lose. Brother, listen carefully, because this is the truth most men never hear until it's too late. The moment she stops arguing, the moment the sharp words, the fights, the tension, the challenges all fade into silence, that is the exact moment she is no longer fighting for you. Her withdrawal is not calm. It is a verdict, not a pause. It is the quiet closing of a door you didn't even see, and no amount of begging, explaining, or chasing will reopen it. Her heart, her attention, her energy, her desire, all have already moved away, and the battle is over before you realized it even began. So you must understand this deeply. A man who loses himself in her silence is already defeated. But a man who stands firm, who protects his frame, who does not panic, who does not chase what has been withdrawn, that man becomes untouchable, unshakable, the kind of man no one can break, the kind of man whose value is absolute, the kind of man who commands respect without demanding it, because his loyalty, his strength, his presence are first and foremost reserved for himself. And brother, this is the lesson all men must learn the hard way. When she stops arguing, don't fear it, don't plead for it, don't mourn it endlessly. Understand it, accept it, and rise above it. Choose yourself. Cultivate your mind, your frame, your discipline, your power. And in that choice, you will find freedom, clarity, and the unbreakable strength that makes you a man no one can ever abandon or diminish.